Welcome to the Emotionally Baked podcast, where emotions and baking are the two most perfect ingredients. Hello, and welcome back to the Emotionally Baked podcast, where we talk about our emotions, all while baking something yummy in the hopes of working it out or just talking it out. So welcome today. Today is apple pie, donuts, and adoration. And I just felt like doing this fun one, this lighthearted one, because I've been going through a lot of up and down emotions lately. And I really wanted to kind of do a semi shout out also to my husband, who I have great adoration for. And so here we go. The recipe today is, I'm going to look up where it's from. It's a lot of ingredients, but I'm actually going to split it in half because I do not need that many donuts, and it's just our family for breakfast. So we're going to make it smaller. And it's kind of hard to do these in half because they're such specific recipes. I don't claim to know how to perfectly do half recipes, but sometimes I just wing it and it works out. So I'm going to cross my fingers and it works out. So I've already started my apple cider and yeast mixture. It's already kind of foaming up. So we got that going. And so there was an egg and then an egg yolk. So I couldn't just split. It's hard to split that. So I'm just going to use one egg, and we're going to cross our fingers that works. So this might be the last egg from my chickens for a while. Thank you, chickens. They're molting, and they don't lay eggs while they're molting. I'm getting new feathers and stuff ready for the winter, so they don't lay right now. So this might be my last recipe with an egg for a sec. So I'll have to switch to applesauce. If you didn't know, you can do that. You can substitute applesauce for eggs in some recipes, not all of them, some. So so we're going to go ahead, and in my stand mixer, I'm going to put in this yeast and apple cider mix, the egg. I browned some butter on the stove already, and the milk and sugar, and we're going to whisk it up a little bit. Yeah, we're going to do that. So let's go ahead and put that in. I'm going to hold it in my lap because it's very big, and because I haven't quite have this set up where I can zoom out yet. So I mean, I could probably, but this is that we're doing it. So sugar, and I'm waited a little bit for the things to cool because, again, I don't want to scramble the egg once I put the egg in here. So it's cooled off a little bit. The butter is not totally cool, so we're gonna have to be really careful with that one. So we're gonna be really careful putting that in to our egg in here. If you ever worry about it, you just gotta whisk a lot, and so it doesn't sit with the warm liquid. Maybe I'll put in the milk. The milk will cool it down, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm not using whole milk. I don't usually keep whole milk on hand. I'm just going to use the milk I have in the fridge. So yeah. So I don't know how many of you have somebody to adore in your life. I hope you do. I wish that for everybody, that they have somebody that they can truly adore in their life. Adoring somebody is a joy. It is a joy to have adoration for a person. Let's crack this egg. Last egg. Thank you, chickens. There we go. That cracked kind of funny. Of course, this one will crack funny. Ooh. Oh, it was a double yolk. Oh! I couldn't show you because it plopped, and then it it cracked. That was fun. So yeah, adoring somebody in your life is quite a blessing and quite a joy. Okay, I'm going to continue talking about that I'm going to put this bowl now on my stand mixer. Bowl on my stand mixer is going to get ready for the dry ingredients. I'm going to put in the salt and the cinnamon and the flour. Again, I don't use nutmeg. It's not a flavor that I enjoy, so I don't put that in. And then we're going to just let the mixer do its thing, and the dough has to rise for a while. So we're going to just wait. This is like a process off the camera that we're going to wait and we have to let happen before we do the other things. So I'm drinking some tea because I am doing this in the evening. And yeah, hold on. Oh, the recipe is from bakerbynature.com. There we go. All right. So I have my dough all mixed up right there. It's just going to rise for the next hour. We'll shape them into rounds, put them on a pan to rise again, and we'll fry them. And then they get stuffed with apple pie filling. Now, I could have just bought apple pie filling from the store. However, I'm going to make my own because tis the season, right? Tis the season. So I have my pot here that I'm going to be cooking it in, just right here. So I'm just gonna literally cut them. I washed the skin, so I'm gonna leave that on. And I'm just gonna dice them right into the pan. And we're gonna put some sugars and butter and a little flour. I can't remember quite what the recipe said. I'll look at it in a second. To make our apple pie filling. Should be super yummy. So I looked up, in the meantime, I did look up adoration. And what is adoration? And it's a deep love and respect for someone. And I have several people in my life who have adoration for. And yeah, I feel lucky to have people that I can say that I truly, truly adore, that I have that deep love and respect for. And yeah, one of them being my husband. And I think it goes much beyond just the fact that he's my husband. And, because I understand that there's a lot going, some people, I don't know. I'm not quite sure if I'm stepping over in a sense, but I just feel like nowadays, I don't know. I'm going to step on my words here, but what am I trying to say? My husband is truly my best friend. We met when we were young kids and really built a friendship, really built, just a fondness of each other and just loving to do things together. Just someone I'd love to spend time with. And then over the years, that just kind of exponentially grew, and we had children, yada, yada, yada. But I think the adoration, that deep love and respect for him comes from something different. It comes from that during some of the really tough times in my life, through my parents' divorce, through my moments of anxiety and depression, and through having children and going through surrogacy, and through, just dealing through just huge issues that I had, the loss of people in my life, or and health things. I've suffered some health issues, and my husband has always been there, and not just there in terms of like present. He has always like I joked around with him today. I said, do you want to be on my podcast and talk about how much you adore me? And he's not a on camera type of person. He's very shy and doesn't like to do that. And so he was like, no, that's okay. Not that he did, not to say he doesn't adore me. I'm just kidding. But no, he was just shy about it. But just thinking as I was, joking about it and being silly, I said, because I really adore you. And, I'm saying it in a joking, funny way, but, there's been some hard times lately where I have gotten into some down slumps, and he truly has picked me up and kind of just helped me to brush things off, and I admire him so much for that. And I love him so much for that. It's just amazing how he can just, he can turn off whatever's going on and just focus on what I need, which is amazing, because sometimes my head just like goes in 10 million directions and I can't focus on anything. ADD for you. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put these sliced apples on my stove. I'm gonna set them to a low boil. We're gonna I'm gonna put some sugars in it and some cinnamon. I'll check the recipe and just set that to boil. Okay, I've got the apples boiling, and yeah. So what's gonna happen is once the dough is done rising, I'm gonna roll it out kind of thick, about a half an inch thick, and just gonna cut it in circles. I'm gonna put it on a pan and it's gonna rise. Once they're risen, I'm just gonna fry them in some oil, just so that they're nice and puffy. And then that goopiness, once it's goopy, will just get inside. I will dust the donuts with cinnamon sugar, but that's kind of what they're gonna be like, and super yummy. I'm so excited. They might not make it to breakfast. I might have them as like a midnight snack. So we shall see. They're bubbling just for a second. Let me turn it down so we can chat and keep continuing. All right. So adoring or adoration. And, there's lots of people in my life that I love deeply and adore. I'm also going to mention my mom. Yeah, she's been through quite a ride in her life, and I'm just like, I just adore her so much. Like, she's a vision of strength to me, like such a vision of strength and just perseverance and all the things that she's been through. And yeah, that's what I really admire about her. She's been through, let's see, oh my goodness, infertility, loss of children that she adopted, going through adoptions, and some of these I haven't mentioned yet. So she's been through divorce. She's been through health issues that have been really crazy, and she's overcome all of them with such, that my mom can, just such love and just compassion still in her heart. I love her to pieces. So yeah. I was gonna keep talking about my husband, and I totally forgot. But also, there's a lot, not just that my husband is there for me and is always uplifting and things like that, but I really admire. There's when you really admire somebody for the way that they can just be in this world right now. And I'm not quite sure how to put it. We can be so bitter, and we can be so, it's really hard to find positivity and light and things that make you happy and joyful, and because it just feels like there's so much heaviness. And somehow, some way, my husband has always been so optimistic, so, let's look at the bright side, or let's find, the good, and he always looks for the good and always has a positive spin. And so I know just a few days ago, he came home from work, and he was actually not feeling that way. He wasn't feeling positive, and he wasn't feeling, his optimistic self. And, it was my time to come in and be there for him and support him. And it just kind of shook me a little bit, because, when that person who is super positive for you and is always positive, and you almost take for granted that they're always positive. And so, yeah, I just was super grateful that, I'm just super grateful for him, because, and the adoration I have for him is something I can't explain sometimes, because I just don't know how he does it. Like, I don't know how he, puts up with certain things, like certain stuff at his job or business, or just daily life, and still seems to keep it together. And we do talk, and I say, if there's anything you want to talk to me about, or if there's anything we can discuss, I don't want it to be just always me unloading onto you. Please unload onto me, because I do, if you need it. And he's like, no, I'm good. Are you sure? So the fact that he is so optimistic is just, it's mind-blowing to me sometimes. I admire him so much for it. And his just willingness to stick to so much that, if if you have your own business, there is so much that he sticks to all the time. You work more hours than anyone when you have your own business. You're the person, like, especially if you own your company, like you are, if you own your own business, but you know what I'm saying, like, you are there for all the problems, you're there for all the things, you had to fix all the stuff, and you sacrifice a lot. And yeah, and just the fact that I know sometimes that he's sacrificed so much for not only his job, but his family, for us. It just impresses me so much. And yeah, so I have a deep adoration for him. Okay, so we're gonna take a break here. The next time you'll see me is when hopefully we are the culmination of getting these apple cider donuts together. Okay. All right, so a lot has happened. If you are just listening, so we had some videos of me. So the dough cut into the rounds. I did let the dough rise for an hour after I had mixed it, and then I cut them into the rounds and then let them rise again. So we did that. And after they rose, fried them up. So here they're all fried. And after I fried them, I tossed them in cinnamon sugar. Now, remember I had done, so this is my apple pie filling. This is going to be the tricky part. It's getting it into the donuts. So I used a little piping tip to just kind of nozzle a little hole in the side of the donut. So theoretically, I just clip this and we're gonna fill the donuts. This is theoretically how this is supposed to go. So we're gonna cross our fingers, roll up the sleeves, see if this works. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we got them filled with the apple pie, but it was a mess. But we did it. Here it is. Some of it actually exploded a little bit coming out of the donuts, as you can see here. But hey, we did it. So whether the salt in your recipe comes from tears or a teaspoon, just remember we baked it out.